don't normally get to see this stuff up close and personal, but my goodness, I even got to touch it. Those things are massive. Yep, just playing with the little old 260 here, getting ready to put it on an engine stand. Obviously, it's kind of interesting because, you know, like I say, I don't play with Fords too often. I don't know how common this stuff is, but yeah, I got the flex plate off and the little big, I guess, housing and all that. This thing's pretty long. So, but it had this big steel plate behind here, which is interesting. So that sits in between the tranny and the engine, and you can see right there, that's where your starter goes through. And so that sits behind there. In order to get that off, you have to take this off. The flywheel itself looks okay. Turns out whatever flywheel I was playing with here before, I don't think it's a Ford. It actually might be a Chevy. So I got to double check on that. As well as that thing. I have no idea where that's from. I'm assuming possibly a Chevy as well. So here's the bell housing that came off of it. As you can see, it's quite wide. It's wide over here. So the newer style bell housings will not fit because it's too narrow in here. So I'm guessing either it's a smaller flywheel setup inside here or something, or pressure plate, I should say, like similar to that, than that thing, because that thing there is almost 2 inches longer or wider than, say, something that's newer. So that's why these bell housings are a little bit different. Although they will bolt up, it's, yeah. As well as the transmission, it's only a 3-speed. Now that looks totally different than the other 3 or 4-speed I have. Yeah, 4-speed. Out of a Mustang, like a 65 Mustang or something like that. So it's still got the things on the side here. But, no, I'll show you in a minute. But a 65 4 or 5 Mustang 4-speed I got will fit that housing. But this transmission, so I guess it's a universal because it's got both bolt patterns, will also fit that housing. Whereas the one from the Mustang only has the one bolt pattern, which will fit only that housing. So that's kind of interesting to see different mismatch of parts here. But yeah, so let's go take a look at that transmission here right away. And you can see here, this one here comes apart on the top. And it's yay long. The mounting is pretty much the same. The shifters are pretty much the same. But it looks like a totally different transmission. All right, let's take a look at this. There is your little Mustang transmission. As you can see, it's totally different on the top. This is apparently a 4-speed. Of course, it's upside down because that's how they do things. But, yeah. There we go. As you can see, it has this bolt pattern only, and all the business is on the side. Unlike the other one, where it comes out of the side, but this is on top. So, I mean, that's interesting. Would it work in there? I don't know. This transmission apparently is for a 6-cylinder, not an 8. Although they did have 8s, I'm not too sure if you can convert this over to an 8-cylinder. I'll leave that to the experts to decide, but basically if I wanted to use this transmission, being a 4-speed, of course I'd have to get it rebuilt because I think it's seized. This would work in that car. So, I have a bit of a dilemma on my hands. Plus I would have to find all the shifter linkages, because this here, Mustangs as far as I know are top loaders. So they had a column shift, or not a column shift, but a console shift. So I would have to find all that stuff as well in order to make that work in that car, which is not a big deal. I'd actually prefer it. But there you go. Well, pull the heads off. And of course the 2 rear cylinders, as usual, full of water, moisture. I'm just using this here to heat up the piston, get all the moisture out of there before you hit it with some WD-40. Did the other side already. I just like chasing. You can see the difference in color here. It's right around there. Right here. So I'm chasing it out, heating it up, getting all that moisture out as much as I can. And I'll just spray it, hose it right down with some WD-40, and hopefully it penetrates, right through and through like water does. Chases the heat source, But all in all, this engine doesn't look that bad. Other than a lot of carbon, it's probably running rich or something. But and that head there, that head doesn't look that great. For obvious reasons, it's got the most water in it. The other side had a bit of moisture in it too, but nothing looked any bit of rusty at all. Like, it's not bad at all. You can see the moisture in there. Moisture definitely got into this engine, but this thing looks fairly rebuildable. The only other downside is I know nothing. I mean nothing about these little 260s. I tried to even look it up on YouTube and stuff like that. They don't tell you much, other than they put them in Falcons and race them, like drag racing. So, I mean, that's interesting. But I know a guy that probably knows a lot about these things, and he's hanging out with Sobering Restorations right about now. So maybe I'll ask him. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. I'll shoot him a question about these tiny little engines that could, I don't know if they're reliable or if they're bulletproof or what. So, there you go. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. Good thinking. Gotta light a cigar and torch the rest of this through. There we go, in hopes that this is doing something. This appears to be the only cylinder that had any kind of considerable water. Well, I'm guessing that that's a little bit seized up. So I cleaned all the water out, then I gave it a heat, just get all the moisture out of the area. And I just went with some WD-40. WD-40's been sitting in here soaking now for, I'd say about a week. Now I'm just taking the torch and I'm getting everything nice and hot again, in hopes that the heating and shrinking will free up the rings a little bit. With the WD-40 all in there and boiling through. You can probably see that. I'm hoping this is going to do something. So now we'll just shut her down and let her cool off and see what happens. I also have to give a big shout out to whoever puts these stupid engine stands together. Of course, nothing but the best, right? This doesn't line up, like the holes. So I gotta once I get this thing, situated here, I'm gonna line up the holes again. Push this back again, I see. And then I got to take a die grinder on both sides, and I got to open this up so the pin can fit through, because stupid engineers don't know what they're doing. You know, this stuff is made by mass. Like, how is it off? I don't know. The other one didn't appear to be like that, but whatever. Such is life. Yeah, she's freed up. Got that side done. I did the same to the other side. Wasn't too sure how seized up this was. Still a little bit warm. But I did the same thing. Heated it up. Put some WD-40 in there. Boiled it in there a bit. But it was going through no problem. So I'm assuming it wasn't seized all the way around. So of course I grabbed my trusty handy dandy hammer and some hardwood. Because that's what every lady likes, is a little bit of hardwood, right? So now I knock this down a bit. Hit my trusty handy dandy paint and rust remover. I gotta get in there and clean this out. Knock it over, do the same thing to the other side, and all the rest of the pistons, just clean them up a bit more. So there's less, how do you say, less friction. And then I'll soak it all down with some oil or something, and then try turning this thing over by hand for a bit. That's the goal for this 260 so far. Yeah, just doing things to see if I can do them, because I don't know if I'll ever use this engine, but you never know. I might try. We'll see. Well, there you have it. She is free. Now, what to do with this thing? That's an even better question. I went down to Johnson's Market there. Got a couple of things of some fancy bread here. Got some blueberry streusel. Yeah, handmade. I have no idea where they came from. Now I just found them. They come out of the Donut House in Selkirk Avenue, Winnipeg. Never heard of them. But yeah, other than it's got canola oil in it, some really good stuff. Also got the apple cinnamon one too. And yeah, they're really good. They're frickin' tasty. I was getting the apple cinnamon stuff from where is that? The Upper Crust there in Selkirk, Manitoba, which I'll probably go and get some more. But yeah, that stuff's really good, and this is what I did with it. Well, you make French toast, of course. Looks great.